So I've always been quite good with numbers. I was very close to doing maths at uni.
Oh Christ.
So, so I've always been very number driven. I've always been very data driven. But the, the main time really where I started putting that into practice and on an actual visual level was during COVID. Uh,
Hmm.
that was when I had a few months bit of time on my hands to almost develop new skill sets. And that's when Power BI started to get really big at the
Yeah.
time, especially with sports scientists. So started self-learning that, watched a few videos on YouTube, a few tutorials, and then bit by bit, I just realized how much time I could have been saving
Yeah.
when I started doing that. Before it was completely Excel, and then straight away it took a bit of time to build these dashboards, and then bit by bit, now it take me little time. I'd like to like without blowing my own trumpet, I'm quite a bit of an expert
Hmm.
on the Power BI and Tableau side. So that's I realised how much time that would be sending me. So during COVID, I absolutely started nailing that, making sure that we're ready for when the
Hmm.
players come, and then straight away I'm saving a couple of hours of work on actual raw data input in blah 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 pivot tables, and instead of now I'm just a hit of one refresh button, and I can spend a lot less time cleaning data and all that, and actually more time on making decisions, having conversations with coaches, and almost forward planning, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for me, I've always been data driven, and anything that saves time and looking at these numbers. And I'm a massive nerd. Like any and most people that work with data are nerds really, and we get a real big kick out of almost answering these questions and giving ourselves the best chance, and start creating different tools that are not only we can use that the managers can use, such as like drill catalogs and stuff like that. So when looking at data, a lot of people, especially a lot of old school coaches, aren't interested in it. So it's really getting that buy-in. And for me, during the time, I was like, I need an in here to get a buy-in. So straight away, one of the first things I've done was create a drill catalog for the coaches.
Yeah.
So we're looking at so for each certain drill, what is the physical output? A coach can come up to me and say, have you got a drill that gives me 200 hour speed running? Bam, 200 hour speed running. These are the drills that we've done previously that have
Yeah.
done stuff like that. So almost we started adding our drills, and now the coaches are using that on a daily basis.
Yeah. So then, just to somebody that doesn't really, or maybe not used Power BI before, like can you just firstly explain general terms what it is and how it compares to a Microsoft Excel and kind of just the benefits of using it? You mentioned obviously time saving and things. Is there anything else that you would kind of say that's really useful with Power BI?
Yeah, so Power BI, one of the best visualization tools out there. It's really good. It's the best there is for like, obviously saving time, but answering performance questions and just almost a clean looking report. Everyone like is, but for me, it's not just a visualization tool. There's so much like it's such a powerful tool where you can implement your R and different coding tools into Power BI in order to almost get these predictive answering these predictive questions and stuff like that. So starting off for me was a visualization tool, and I was almost using it just to create reports daily and send that through to the manager. But then almost seeing the potential, it's almost I turned it into an athlete monitoring system really. So
Mm.
linking all these to different data sources instead of having 10 different Excel sheets. From different data sources, you got your GPS data, testing data, wellness, all linking into different sheets. Power BI brings all that together.
Yeah.
So you're joining all this together, and you can have 10 different data sources on the same report, depending on what you want to look at. And it's adding more context. It's bringing all the information together to answer these questions, and basically create a log for all these players. So we're using it as an athlete monitoring system. Really saves a lot of money. So you're getting athlete monitoring systems going for 75 grand a year,
Mm.
whereas you can create if you get someone who knows how to do it, you get all this for free with Power BI.
Yeah.
So you've got each player, their individual stuff. You can look at stuff for testing stuff. You can get your stats bomb stuff on there. So if a manager wants to look at reports from certain games and longitudinally compare it to other teams, and basically it's completely bespoke depending on what you want to see. So I sit down with my coach and say, listen, what do you want to see? What are you most interested in? I can make that
Yeah.
for you.
Mm.
So apart from my stuff, I know what I want to see. I know what the performance teams want to see, and in general, what the sports science and medicine department can have, and how we can use this daily, how it informs our meetings, and when we are talking about each player in the morning. we've got the information there. So what did they test yesterday? How does it affect how they're feeling? What the player reported yesterday? Oh, this is a reason behind it. And it's a real good source to bring all this information together to bring as much valid and reliable information as you can.
Yeah, I think definitely on that point of making it easy, and also the visuals and the dashboards will help to then break it down to the coach that's not he doesn't want to look at loads of spreadsheets and stuff. If it's there for him in a much nicer way, then
Yeah.
definitely so. So what's the difference then? You obviously Tableau came up in the conversation. Have you used that for what's the differences then between them two? And yeah.
Yeah. So main difference for me is the amount of data one can hold. Tableau, I think Tableau can hold significantly more data, and uh, many opinions would say it's more visually appealing, and the actual data visualizations are slightly better. They both have their benefits. Obviously, you can use for Power BI, you can use that for free.
Mm,
Tableau, you have to have a license, but you're paying quite a bit of money for it. Power BI, if you want to use the online platform, you have to pay, but the actual desktop version is free.
mm,
Um, I've used both. For me, see, with the Power BI, you can refresh it however many times you want, but with Tableau, you can actually use the live data constantly on the online platform. And
okay.
so as soon as you input information, you don't need to refresh anything. It's constantly being updated if it's a live data set.
Yeah.
The Power BI, once you add information, you can refresh it. But Power BI is a lot easier from my experience.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of sports scientists tend to use it. Most sports scientists aren't as data driven. They're more in the gym, more strength and conditioning coaches. They like time on the grass, but the way it's going now, they need to have that side. That's the way the game's going. That's the way the profession's going. So
Mm,
Power BI is a really good tool to almost simplify things for them. And
yeah.
there's so much content out there. There's some really good like communities for both of them, where if there are questions, if you just type it in, you will like 90% of the time get the answer that you're looking for.
Mm,
But when it comes to actual creating your visuals, Power BI is a lot easier. Tableau is a bit tougher to understand, but then the outcome of Tableau is a lot more satisfying and visually really good and appealing. If you are my, if you are to, if you are a sports scientist who's looking to start up on one of them, Power BI will be so much easier for you.
yeah.
But there's a lot of good stuff out there, so I'd recommend starting with that. And then when you get comfortable, you can dip your toe into Tableau just to see how it differs. I know a lot of performance analysts, they tend to veer towards Tableau a lot more. So that was the reason for me having it almost being able to do both. So wherever I was to go, whoever I'm working with, I can say I've got a skill set in both.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and do you have anything, or you maybe have other stuff for this, to do with like the nutrition of the players? Is that anything to do with you, or is that other people?
Yeah, so we've got a nutritionist at the club, but again, I'm in constant communication with him because I'm handling the majority of the data, especially
Yeah,
physical medicine data at the club. So constantly, so he's collecting skin folds every few weeks, and that data has been inputted into the system, which feeds into our Power BI.
yeah,
So the Power BI contains everything, all the physical stuff, whether it's the testing, whether it's the GPS, whether it's the nutrition. Obviously, so we've got the skin folds, we've got a lot of the hydration stuff as well. So on a match day -1, how is it? What does a player look like hydration wise? Do they need to improve? How does it look like longitudinally? What are the muscle mass differences? So regarding nutrition, whatever data they collect, I've almost set something up for them, so they don't have to worry about it. All they have to do is input it, and then you've got the visuals ready for them.
yeah.